I would think that would calm things down in the workplace and make things more predictable.
Well, again, arbitration, as Rod talked about, would be the final result. If you couldn't reach a contract, you got mediation. If you don't do that, you go to arbitration. Arbitration can go both ways. You know, arbitrator can come in and is going to make a decision one way or the other. It's going to benefit both sides, one way or the other. You know, the concern is when the employees want to organize, and the labor board is involved in it. The employer can, you know, appeal the election process and back it up and everything else. I can remember many years ago, Montford was in Grand Island. It took 15 years to get them organized. They had the names, but through the process and negotiation and not meeting and those kind of things, it took 15 years to get a contract. The United Food and Commercial Workers, to get a contract there.
And in a lengthy process like that, how many people end up losing their jobs for advocating for union representation?
There have been some in the past because they have, that's kind of the end result. The contract gets signed, agreed to, that they want a union. And during that period of time, if I was a supporter of the union, and I'm a good employee, always should have worked, did my job, but because I'm supporting the union, I am fired. Now, the International Union trying to organize where I work, I have an opportunity to file charges against that employer for terminating me. It's pretty obvious. If I was a good employee, never missed work, and did my job, and just because I support the union, I was terminated. It's pretty obvious what that was about. They want to get my voice out of there. And so, yes, that's happened over the years, yes.
And that can be devastating to a person and a family. You know, you're a good employee, you want to do your job, but you want to have the right to have union representation, and then you have a supervisor come to house and say, if you have a union formed here, you will be fired. We have people that have been fired, and it may take 2 years before you get your job back. But in the meantime, that's 24 months that you're without a job, and that's devastating to a family.
Now, how do you make your mortgage under those circumstances, and what do you do for health care?
That's back in the good old days. You go back 20 years, there may have been an opportunity to find another job. In today's age, and what we're going through right now, it's hard enough to hold your job. I think Rod can talk about how many years it takes to hold a job at Goodyear right now. But yes, you bring up the health care, and what do you do for health care? As we have people that can't retire right now because of the cost of health care. Employers are dropping health care coverage to their retirees. And when you get to that magic age of retirement, and then you have to start paying for your own health care, you basically put the burden on yourself where you cannot retire. And that's what employers are doing. So,
And so who is supporting and who is opposing this act?
Well, the AFL-CIO has been the primary supporter of the bill. It's been introduced last couple years, and it has went through the House and passed the House, and been in the Senate. Last year, they've got to the point where it was a filibuster vote, and we got that far, but it never got to voting on the bill itself. Okay. So, and we have started a statewide coalition in Nebraska of all the labor movement, different fractions of the labor movement throughout Nebraska. But who's supporting it? We have religious groups that are supporting it. We have the Nebraska Education Association. We have the Nebraska Trial Attorneys. We have the Democratic Party is on board. And we have several other organizations that we're working on that will come aboard in support of the Employee Free Choice Act. And it's just not a labor, it's a labor bill, but the support goes strongly across the way of other folks coming aboard and supporting our issues. Supporting the right for employees to have a voice on the job.
Now, President Obama, has he indicated whether or not he'll sign this legislation?
Yes, he has. If he gets to his desk, he'll sign it in a New York minute.
Good, good.
Yep.
Because there was a recent bill, the Lilly Ledbetter Act, I think it was,
Correct.
that came through that he signed. Do you know anything about that?
Sure, that's a bill that, it was a Goodyear plant.
Absolutely, Gadsden, Alabama.
Alabama.
Okay.
And where a lady filed charges against the employer for equal pay. And it was discrimination. She didn't realize that she was being paid a different wage than the males were, her counterparts. She took that case and went through the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, you know, it ruled against her because she was supposed to have filed the case 2 years after she started there, within 2 years after she started there. Well, she left there with 22 years. She didn't know that.
Oh, my goodness.
So they ruled against her and they wouldn't accept it. But President Obama signed that, for equal pay for women at the workplace, yes.
So unions are important for women and minorities as well as everyone in the workplace. It's something that helps everyone.
Well, you don't see too many corporations or businesses standing up for the situation on the workplace. The organizations that are opposing the Employee Free Choice Act were not there in support of the minimum wage. They aren't there for the support of other things that affect the workers over the line. They want control. They want control of the issues that affect their employees. And that's the purpose of it, of giving the rights back to the employees on the job site, yes.